So the day that I'm recording this is the 20th of January, and it is the birthday of David Lynch. Last week, David Lynch died, and I was kind of thinking maybe it'd be good to do some sort of a tribute or talk about him. And when I initially heard the news, I did of course post on my Instagram just a small kind of, I don't know, knowing that it had happened, and basically throughout the day, into the next, I just was sharing multiple tributes and of many people who had worked with him, and many other just tributes about him as a as an artist. And yeah, I just wanted to use this as a chance, and hopefully this will go up on the same day as upload if I get the chance. But just the chance just to just say whatever I can about my experience with them. Just this channel isn't normally used for this sort of thing. I haven't done a piece to camera in a long while, but just on this instance, I just thought it would be nice to say what I could just during this time about him, and basically what he means to me. When it comes to Lynch's work, Eraserhead, as I have a T-shirt on right now, just for the video. Eraserhead was actually the first thing of his I had ever seen, and it wasn't until a while later that I got around to seeing a lot of his other stuff, like all the rest of his other stuff. But Eraserhead was something I initially saw. I think back when I was first getting into horror. So I would have been, I think, 12 or 13 maybe when I saw it, and I didn't think much of the kind of the tagging of David Lynch being connected to it. I may have known that it was the same person who made Twin Peaks, which at that time I only knew some things about. Basically, it was Eraserhead. It was something which was lumped in with disturbing films, very strange films, like things you need to check out. And I was just like, yeah, let's check this out. And it was, it was an experience. I hadn't even just at the time even just considered that any other things that this director may have made. So at that time, I didn't seek out any other things that he had made, but just when I saw that one, that really left me back then. I was very freaked out by some things in that film, but it's still, as the years go on, I don't think I quite feel so unnerved as I was the first time. I think because the first time, I was just so new to him, as a director and his work, that it was just particularly strange for me at the time. But yeah, so that really just left an impact on me at that time. But it was, I think it might have been 2 years later that I finally got around to watching Twin Peaks, because I met a friend in I was doing an acting course, and she was basically praising the work of David Lynch a lot, and she was particularly praising Twin Peaks. And so I decided I'd go check out this thing, because I had known about Twin Peaks as a thing, and I wasn't sure if at this time there was an announcement yet made for the third season or not, but I think maybe there were rumblings that maybe it was coming back. Hard to know the timeline, but basically, yeah, I put a start to it, and funny enough though, this was, I think, 2015 or something, and at that time, as much as I loved it, for some reason I didn't come back to it and finish the whole thing. I think I got as far as sort of the beginning of season 2, and then I think I was, oh yeah, that's what happened. School. I was in school at that time, my last year of school, and yeah, I just got too busy to be focusing on any TV shows. But finally, I decided I had the time to get around to watching the whole rest of it. And when I finished that show, I was just like, I almost immediately watched Firewalk with Me. And when I'd finished that, I was just like, I need to see more that this guy has done. And at that point, I definitely knew that he did Mulholland Drive. Um, and Mulholland Drive, I think I had kind of a similar experience that as I did with Eraserhead, where though it felt a little bit Twin Peaksy, like it felt like kind of an evolution of his what he would do, because it did start out as a TV show originally. I think again it was one of those things where I was a little bit thrown off, like what is this film? But it still stuck with me, and I just continued on watching. I think that was the first thing that I watched, and then I went chronologically through everything that he made. Yeah, that was kind of it. And then once I'd done that, it was a case of like, oh, this guy makes music too, and he at that point had made 3 albums, and he'd made some with Krista Bell too. I was really into those Crazy Clown Time and The Big Dream. Those were so good and like regular listens for me. Back that was in my first year of college. It was kind of I was still kind of getting into like more music, and that was kind of part of my limited catalog of music that I would listen to. That was those albums were some of that. So all of this led to, of course, in 2017 we got the return of Twin Peaks. I think that might have been my incentive to actually get back to watching it when I initially had started. Um, but because I was, I need to make sure I check it out before the new season comes out. I say this every year when it comes around to the month that the season started premiering, that the summer that this season was on was just amazing. Just every week tuning in to this show, because it was such an intriguing season. Like it was something which I think caught a lot of people by surprise, because a lot of people were kind of used to what the original Twin Peaks show was. But I was kind of coming at it from the perspective of after having watched Twin Peaks, having seen the rest of his work. So I wasn't quite so surprised by some of the directions that it took. But that's not to say that it didn't surprise me at all, because my God, I'm actually currently rewatching it at the moment. I was meaning to do a rewatch, but given all of this, I just thought now's the time to get back to season 3. And I just finished last night part 8, and I'm still just blown away at the fact that this got made, because there was a time when it almost didn't happen, and we almost could have had a season of Twin Peaks return without David Lynch making it. I don't know the whole story as to what happened there, as why he wasn't. Apparently it was something to do with budget, or I don't know. But possibly if it was a budget thing, I get it, specifically with part 8. But I'm so glad we got it, because he directed every single episode of that season. And it is basically, though he did manage to direct a few little things after that, yeah, that is kind of like his final big thing that he managed to do before he died. I suppose I did a little bit of a celebration a couple of years ago. Every week I did piano videos of music from that season, which I may come back to at some point. I'm thinking I may come back to it in 2 years on the 10th anniversary of the season. This isn't my place to necessarily go down to every single one of his bits of work and what I love about every single one of them, because that would just take too long, because there's so much I could say about every one of his films and all of Twin Peaks and everything. I suppose that's sort of overall my whole experience with him, but like I suppose everything I've said sort of maybe explains it, but just like I just have loved everything about David Lynch as an artist. Usually when I say who's my favorite artist, I feel that's a bit like broad. Like when it comes to painters, maybe there's a couple of painters I could go to, but when I think of favorite artists, he's just what I come to, because he just did everything. Even with just within the film world. You know, like he wrote, directed, and he worked on the sound side of things and music side of things, but he even acted in stuff as well. And he was a great actor. I absolutely love him in Twin Peaks as Gordon Cole.
Agent Dale Cooper!
Gordon, I hope you haven't been waiting too long.
I didn't just get here. I've been waiting the whole afternoon to see you.
And not so long ago, he had a very brief role in Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans. And he was hilarious in that.
Well?
Right, okay, so there are 5 cowboys, you know, they
No,
could be
no,
Indian.
no. Where's the goddamn horizon?
It's there.
Where?
At the top of the painting.
All right, get over here.
But the man started out as a painter, and that was his world of art before he came to film. He never even thought about making films, but one of the things that always stuck out to me about him is a story of how he got into film. He was working on some sort of a painting, and I believe it was some wind came in and blew some bit of the paint on the canvas along, and he said, "Oh, it's like a moving painting." And I think it was even specifically the fact that he heard the sound of the wind as well, which made him think of the sound of the movement.
Looking at it, and from the painting, I heard a wind, and the green started moving. And I thought, oh, a moving painting, but with sound. And that idea stuck in my head.
And that's what got him started. That's just one of my favorite stories about him. And I think that just really goes to show kind of how, I don't know, how he thought about creativity and that sort of painting world. And I just have to point out him as a painter. Well, I feel like it's not even like wrong for me when I say like he's my favorite artist, and if I'm even pointing to his artwork was super cool because his artwork had these amazing textures to them. He's really big on the textures. Like you'd have these like 3D kind of elements to them, like things kind of sticking out, and just kind of generally they'd have just a very, well, as you do with this stuff, a very kind of unnerving vibe to them, which is always cool to see.
Anybody that creates is a friend of mine.
Like for me, I love creativity, and I love people who love creativity and how they speak about it, and how he always spoke about creativity, about finding ideas, and even just how he loved to make things. And so it was actually kind of one of the things which kind of made this hit for me a little bit was that a couple of months ago we got the news that he was that he had emphysema, and he said at the end of that post that he'll never retire, and you know he'll keep working, and that was nice to read that he was still going through it. And I suppose I did think that maybe he would, I don't know, continue a little bit longer than that. But his friend and producer Sabrina Sutherland posted that that the two of them had evacuated safely, and that left a lot of us with a reassurance that things are okay for him. And God, this isn't me just literally going to the day of it. But I remember I think I was literally just here. I was just on my way out of the house. I just opened my phone and I just see this post, and I was like, this was written by the David Lynch official page, and then I checked Sabrina's page as well, and she had posted the same thing, and that just 100% confirmed that he was gone. Like this is from the official source. Immediately, I just I was like, wow. And then that was when I got to see everyone else sharing the news too. And I mean, like I said, on the day I was sharing so much about this. So many people. He had an impact on so many people who worked with him, and there were so many people who admired him. There were some people who I didn't even know were fans of his work. And I saw them posting about it too. And it was amazing. Like I hadn't seen sort of an outpour like this like in a while. But yeah, this was as I said, entirely unscripted. I just felt the need to kind of get my feelings out about it. Yeah, like I said, I just always adored him as a creative person, and I adored him just as a person. He was just hilarious. There was a goofiness to this guy that was so fun.
Hello. We're all very happy to be here tonight. First of all, I'd like to introduce my boys. This is Chucko, and this is Buster, and this is Pete. I'm David Lynch, and this is Bob, and this is Dan.
There was stuff that he did, which, I don't know, like some people kind of, I feel, maybe took him a bit too seriously. Whereas really a lot of the times I feel like he kind of was just having a bit of fun, and maybe he wanted to kind of do a bit of more of a unique way of making a point about something, and by making that point he does a little bit more different, which catches the eye, specifically in my mind. When I'm thinking about this goofy stuff is the time of Inland Empire and this promoting Laura Dern and her performance, and he's just on the street with a cow and it's catching people's attention, you know.
I went out with a cow and a placard for Laura Dern, and it was, you know, a necessity because I didn't have the money to buy ads in the trades, and it brought awareness.
If you want to see the greatest performance of 2006, check out Laura Dern's performance in Inland Empire.
It's unique. But yeah, he was hilarious. And he was just so wholesome. His weather report. I'm glad I got to be a fan during his resurgence of the weather reports, because of course he did them back in, I think it was 2006, 2007. And so it was nice. I think it was specifically actually during COVID that he brought those back, and yeah, he brought those back, and then he kind of had extras of including I don't know, music recommendations and kind of just various things that were on his mind, and it's Friday once again.
And if you can believe it, it's a Friday once again.
I mean, yeah, like this was the thing. Like even though like this, you know, Twin Peaks had ended and he wasn't directing anything big anymore. It was just nice to see updates of this man, because I just loved him as a fun person in this world. I mean, it would have been amazing if I got the chance in my life to meet him. I mean, there's so many people, of course, in life, you know, that you admire, and it'd be nice to get to see them. I mean, I've got the chance to meet a couple of people that I admire in life, but he was someone I realistically knew I probably would never get to meet. But I always thought, like, that would be the best thing. The other day, I was doing a silent film performance, a playing along music to some silent films. At the end of it, this was on Saturday, I decided I'd do a little bit of a tribute, and I'll post that as a separate video. But that was kind of another little thingy that I did. It was just similar, basically, to another video that I've done on this channel before. But just at the time, it seemed appropriate. Another thing which always stood out to me about him was just having thought about it is, of course, just how he finds beauty in things. Like, there are things that he finds. I'm saying finds. There are things that he found beautiful that people wouldn't really normally think to be beautiful, but he finds something in them, and it could be in the sound side of things too, but just in general, how he found that beauty. And I think there's this one particular. I mean, there are probably loads of examples that I'm not thinking of right now, but there's a particular clip from the making of season 3, where just between takes he's looking at the curtains of the room and he's just admiring how beautiful they are, and it's just such a simple thing, and how he just found beauty in the simple things in life was just, I don't know, it's just quite a wholesome quality to him that he had. And I mean, that extended to like the actors he worked with as well. When it came to casting his actors, it was always just about the feel about them. Like, from what I gather, he rarely, if even ever, did proper auditions for his actors, and it was just about a case of meeting the people and knowing that they were, you know, right for the roles that he wanted, which is quite amazing in the case of the likes of Colin McLaughlin, whose career was started by David Lynch because he cast him in his first feature, and then he went on to do so many things, even outside of his great work with David. I just always really loved that about him. Just how he saw people and saw things in them, and just how he viewed the world. And it's worth bringing up, of course, one of the main things about David is he was always so passionate about meditation, transcendental meditation, that is. For me, something which really stands out about him as a person was the idea of just him really wanting everyone to be in their best state of mind, just to be at peace and find peace. Another quote from that's definitely stood with me is that one about really being against the idea of the tortured artist, and saying that, like, really creativity can't come from a actual place of darkness and I suppose depression in the scenario he's giving, and that really it's in the making of an artist's work that they really are in their happiest state. And that really just it's just a nice way of looking at it. And I don't know, he always talked about kind of really enjoying the doing of the art, and it's nice that he's kind of just really so against that idea. One thing which just comes to mind, which I haven't even mentioned, is I think one thing which really stands out to me, about which I don't even consciously think about all the time, but the sort of work that he made, because of its unique way of storytelling, it really changed how I appreciated film and art film. Because there was a time, I mean, could also chalk this up to just being young and kind of not maybe appreciative certain things at a certain age. But there was definitely a time where I would look at some films and just think, what is this nonsense? Why is the film made in this way, which doesn't make sense, and just not get it, and just kind of toss it aside as just a bit of nonsense. But when I got into his work, it did change how I viewed films, and I did get more appreciative of just films that are more unique. That, like, if I ever find something that's just really unique in how it tells its story, it's I don't know. It's kind of like, it's just very nice to find. I don't think there's anything else as far as this goes. I've said my whole my journey with him and my love of him. Like I said, I'm gonna post as a separate video the tribute I did the other day. But yeah, that's it. David Lynch. It does feel sort of strange. I don't know. I think it is just that thing where I just thought that maybe there'd be more time with this guy around. I don't know what more he could have done in his condition anyway, but at the end of the day, it's nice to have been in a time where he was around and to get all those updates and to experience specifically the return of Twin Peaks, to be around for that. He's always going to stick with me, and he's always going to be my favorite artist. And yeah, that's all I have to say.